Welcome to Pitch in the Zone, a weekly gathering of coaches that help one presenter with a short pitch. Our coaches this week include Nathan Gold, Scotty Spursum, Michael Marchak, Rick Pollack, and Stuart Pink. All of them are seasoned presenters, coaches, entrepreneurs that have a real knack in finding ways to improve someone's pitch. And our presenter today is Massimo Peroncelli. He's returning. He showed us his first version of the pitch for GoScanThis last week. He received a lot of feedback and is back today with a new and improved version. Massimo, welcome back.
Thank you.
And your audience hasn't changed, I would assume, right? It's still early stage investors, angel investors?
Yes, it didn't. Yep.
Okay. So whenever you are ready, Massimo, take a deep breath and the floor is yours.
This is my phone, and this QR code is my forever business card. Hello, my name is Massimo Peroncelli. I am the CEO and founder of GoScanThis.com. So what happens when you scan this QR code? You'll go here, and basically you will see my picture and all my business card data. Yeah, we are not the only company doing QR codes and business cards. But this friend of mine, he tried a lot of them. He was not happy. So he knew I have been writing software since I was 12. So he asked me, can you do something better? And if you are a freelancer, or if you are a content creator, or you just do a lot of things online, then you can see with GoScanThis, you can upload your videos. You can show your customers what you do. You can upload files like ebooks or samples or coupons. You can also password protect them. But then yet another friend, he said, well, how is it different from my regular QR code from LinkedIn? Keep in mind, we are not competing with LinkedIn. We are just giving you more opportunities. And remember that LinkedIn, they use your data to show advertisement. We never do that. Even on the free level, there is no advertisement. Then you cannot add files for videos to LinkedIn, and you cannot customize your homepage. So for example, here, you see, you can just drag and drop the sections, or you can just move your files, your videos. You can even move the social icons on the bottom here. And if you want to put LinkedIn in the first position, feel free. You can customize it and make it unique just for you. And then if you scan the QR code, even if the battery runs out, you can go back, and even if you forgot them, you can see when you met them and even where on the map. Isn't that cool? So the free version, you have everything about the business card. But if you pay just $1.99 per year, $1.99 per year, you get one video, one file, and you can customize and choose one name for your website with the QR code. Then, of course, the more you pay, the more you get. For example, on the VIP plan, you will get a vanity QR code with your picture inside. And let me tell you, if you try to do it yourself, it is pretty hard. We're asking for $10,000 for our company, which is already incorporated in Delaware, and we will spend it all on advertisement on LinkedIn. We are still in private beta, but we will launch in Q2 this year. Our estimates say that we will get in 1 year between 10,000 and 100,000 users, with profits ranging from $80,000 to $400,000. Oh, and yeah, one more thing. Yet another friend. She's the romantic one. She loves the paper business cards. So if you go on the site, you will see templates with your real picture. real data, real name. You can see how they could look like. You can download them, print them, and all of this is totally free. So just go scan this and get my contact details. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. Very good. Thank you, Massimo. Definitely quite an improvement from last time. I like your delivery, the use of technology, and the one thing I really, really loved was your ending with the "and there is more," the business cards. You saved that until the very, very end. Very, very nicely done. So let me start today's round of feedback with Rick. Rick, what kind of feedback do you have for Massimo?
Yeah. Massimo, much better than last time. I think you made it very clear that you're not competing with LinkedIn, but you do things, and you had that great comparison chart on there. I like the beginning, and a couple things that I noticed. You mentioned your friend tried some of the scanners. You said right away, there are other people who do this. Your friend didn't like any of them, and then you gave the humble brag. I've been writing software since I was 12, and I could do better. And you came up with it, so I think it was good. It brought in a why you're a person who can do this and understood it. And from there right into the why you were competing with, that you weren't competing with LinkedIn, what you did on there, it wasn't replacing that. Also the thing about the ads, the no ads. One thing though, you said it was an investor pitch, but the you that you mentioned, when you're saying you're talking you as the consumer. So I think if you change that around and saying that, people will do this, they'll spend the $199, they'll spend this money, the users, and we'll have thousands or millions of users, they will be able to do this, they'll buy that. So the you, I think, should be consistent, either to the consumer throughout or to the investor throughout. So I would think that would be something to refine. The other thing that I know, I looked at the website last week, and you include in that fee for someone who signs up, and depending on what level they buy, you include that microsite. And you didn't mention it, it's mentioned on your website, but I think that needs to be in the presentation, because that again differentiates you from LinkedIn, that the microsite is included in that fee. That's where you put all your information. That's where you put your ebook, that's where you put the video, and that's something that differentiates you. So I think that would be a reason that I would sign up for it, saying, wait a minute, here's a little microsite that I can have on my phone, that QR code, that brings me to a microsite from GoScanThis that has all my business card information. And that's a permanent thing from the microsite. So that would be the comments, but much better than last time. I like that template for the paper business card at the end, and also the ask for the 10K, I think might be a little bit low for investors. You probably could ask for some more, but at least you're very specific on it. This is going to be for the advertising on LinkedIn. And I also love the way you showed the demo, the drag and drop on the customizing. So yeah, it's good. It's a lot clearer on what it is and how people can use it. And I think just the refining of who you're talking to throughout, whether the you is the user or the investor, and it's great. And I think it's going to go as you go into the next few months and roll this out, you're going to get a lot of people to sign up. So great job, Massimo. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you can sign up too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Rick. I'm moving right along to Stuart. Stuart, what kind of feedback do you have for Massimo?
Yeah, Massimo, I really enjoyed it. I thought, like Rick, it was much better than last week. I think your movement from side to side was very clever. It's about as sophisticated as I've ever seen anyone manage to do. Because one tip at the beginning, I'm sure you've done this, but if you're worried about not being able to see yourself on screen when we're doing online presentations, it always makes sense to mark out the area you need to be, so that well, if I'm standing here, I must be in the right place. I get yours was more complicated because you needed to know what was on at each time and which side you needed to be on. I liked the introduction a lot more than last week. I think there are still little tweaks you can do to make it better. So you had the prop and you started with, this is my phone and this is my forever business card. One thing I would say about the prop is usually if you're using it, we want to see it. And so I at that point would come closer to the camera so we can actually see what you're showing us, because otherwise it's a phone, but it's hard to see. But after this is my phone, I'm thinking, well, I know that. Is there a more engaging way you can catch our attention? For example, I might be tempted to ask the question, what's this? Well, it's not just my phone, or you probably think it's just a phone, but it's not just a phone. It's also my forever business card. Next thing is, after that interesting opening line, you then go to the slightly boring, hello, my name is Massimo thing, but you have the perfect way to carry on the presentation, because first of all, I'm thinking, what is a forever business card? And you then show us. So show us the forever business card. And at that point, when your face is on there and we're looking at it, that's the perfect time to introduce yourself and your business. And that way, I think you seamlessly hook us into the presentation, show us what you're talking about, and get to introduce yourself. And it's just little tweaks, really. The one other thought I had is, I know that you received a lot of feedback last week about how does this relate to LinkedIn, and you incorporated that. My feeling, and others may disagree with me, is that LinkedIn featured quite heavily in the presentation, and that for something that is about your product, I would want to make it a bit more incidental. So for example, the two things I'm thinking of, you said, we're not competing with LinkedIn, and then proceeded to show a comparison of us against LinkedIn, which felt very much like you are competing with LinkedIn. And then when you were talking about the investment, yes, okay, so it's going on advertising on LinkedIn, and I see a massive LinkedIn logo, and maybe you want to have your own logo bigger, and maybe you don't need the LinkedIn one there. So I'm not quite sure what the right balance is, but those were just my thoughts. But great presentation, really enjoyed it. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent observation. Thank you so much, Stuart. Tremendously valuable feedback here. Definitely appreciate it. And let's move on to Scotty. Scotty, what kind of feedback do you have for Massimo today?
Massimo, it was the introduction was much better. Your language was crisper. It was really great. And you did a little bit of breathing there, which I noticed, and you managed it well. So congratulations on that. Wins for you. Couple of things. When you had the LinkedIn, I agree with Stuart that LinkedIn, was featuring very prominently, the LinkedIn versus GoScanMe. I was a little bit confused about the X's and the checks, because I was hearing we don't do this, but then but there were check marks under what GoScanThis does. So I found that one to be a little bit confusing. I also think you're asking for too little all the way across the board. $1.99 is not a lot. I mean, maybe it should be $4.99 for the year, or $9.99 for the year, something. And just sometimes there's a reverse psychology that if you pay more for something, it's worth more. So I would, I don't know what the pricing is in your space, but look at that, and maybe, and I think $10,000 is low. I agree with Rick for an ask. I think 50 would make more sense. I'm sure you could figure out how to spend it.
Well, you're all welcome to join the club, right? I give you my bank details.
Yeah. And also, if there's any kind of a promotion, you could, factor that in. You talked about, I think, as I recall, there was a lifetime membership and then VIP membership, and it's all one time.
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly clear.
Yeah, just because personally, I hate this recurring thing. And I think sooner than later, those software as a service thing will revert back to pay once and use forever. I'm fairly confident on that.
Yeah, I think that, and I like that too. But I think a little bit more would make it even more valuable if you charge a little bit more. And then the other thing was, I think it was Rick who was talking about addressing the venture capital, addressing the venture investor versus the customer. You could say, for you as you too, whether you're an investor or, whether you become an investor or when you become an investor, you can also become a client. And for you, this is how the interface works. For you as the customer X, for you as the investor, this is what we're doing. That might be a way to delineate it. So, yeah, good.
Okay, thank you, Scotty. And moving on to Michael. And as always, Michael has put a lot of comments into the chat box as well. Massimo, you might want to grab those on your way out. Michael, what kind of feedback do you have for Massimo?
So I did like the more natural style. That really felt more like I was hearing you, which I appreciate because I've known you for a while. Just to be able to see you come out, it was much nicer to see that. But I could also tell with all of the fancy transitions, the frustration level was there to get it right. And when we're talking about any of these presentations for anybody, getting something where the technology doesn't work, there needs to be a backup and say, let me just tell you about it. And if you're relying on the demo piece as part of this thing, then you may need to do it a different way to make sure that they have the technology, if you're trying to show the technology that it works when you're doing it, because that could always be an issue, as we saw earlier. So I think that's one part of it. We've heard a couple of folks talk about the customer side of things. You're talking about the customers, and I felt like there were this tendency to slip back into talking about the features of the software. I didn't see a giant benefit of being able to move the icons around. Maybe someone does, but when I looked at it from an investor, okay, that's a nice feature to have, but is it going to make us any money to do some of those things? So focusing on the features that make money is probably a better choice when you're talking to an investor to let them know, here's the things we can do. And when you make those differentiations about the microsites and whatnot, and then the levels, that makes me understand, okay, there are features that lead directly toward higher revenue, which kind of gets me to the question on a freemium model, where you start with to grow your user base prior to having to spend all of the money, doing a test run with this for the folks on a freemium basis, where you've got the levels. Maybe you have a free level that people can taste it and see how it works, and then up level because it's so compelling to go to that next level, whether it's $4.99 a year or $1.99, whatever it ends up being. But there's a reason why, I guess for like a couple bucks a year, it makes sense for me to go this next level because I really like what I've got, and having that one feature in the up level is a really good benefit for me. That way you get a user base to get feedback, but also a user base who's on it then to say we have thousands of users worldwide using this, blah, blah, blah. That becomes a much more compelling thing rather than, if there's 4 people on this platform and hopefully you'll be the 5th. You also mentioned on profit. You said, well, there'll be X amount of profit involved in here. I wasn't sure about as an investor, what the margins that you have on a per user basis. Because if you start looking at the cost to obtain a particular person as a user, what the lifetime cost of that person would be, especially when you have a lifetime membership, to be able to do that. So understanding some of if you're really pressing towards that, understand it. Okay, Scotty said there was a free level. I must have missed it because I was too busy trying to figure out the profit side of things. But to go on that path of being able to grow it. And finally, at one point in time, it almost sounded to me like an infomercial and not a good one. So as you're going, but wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. I was waiting you had a really compelling discussion of something, but sticking towards that business side, I think would be much more helpful, because talk to your investor as the professional rather than try to recruit them as a client. That's my but I love the fact that you came out as you, and that is a huge thing because it's difficult to get to that point of presenting you.
Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, there is a free plan, by the way, but so I was not clear enough maybe, but yeah.
I love the feedback today, and it all points to one thing. Massimo, come back for a third round, because as we all know, the third time is going to be a charm. And Nathan, what kind of feedback do you have for Massimo today?
Well, Massimo, I'm actually going to admit to you that I was secretly enjoying all of your hiccups this morning, because I went through a very similar situation like that less than 48 hours ago, and I was panicked and running around, and I eventually had to use a backup camera, no OBS. Oh, no. Yeah, no OBS that day for almost the entire day. And I was like, every presentation I felt like you did this morning. So, but thank you for really owning it and just running with it. It gave you a good example of what happens when things really go south or wrong. You said something I don't think is correct, and I don't want you to lose any credibility with people. You said you cannot add files or videos to LinkedIn. That's not true. You can add videos to your profile. And in fact, I've got 3 of them in my profile, very similar. So I would take that out because you can. We don't want to beat up LinkedIn too much, right? We just want to make people realize that GoScanThis is not just a little QR code with your basic contact information like you get in LinkedIn. It's got all these other living components that you can offer everybody that looks at your online business card. All right. So if Michael missed your freemium, and this is the second time he's seeing it, then I would like you to, between us or between yourself, figure out how you can get your 4 different prices down to 3. I think the 4 is too many. And I'd love to work with you and figure out how can we get people in this presentation to literally go sign up while you're talking for free. Sign up while you're talking or right after you're done talking, and then maybe offer them that promotion. And I agree with everybody online. I think that $1.99 sounds too cheap, and maybe $1 a month for the first year, and then it's yours forever. I don't know, but it feels like maybe you could bump that initial non-freemium, the next one down to maybe $9.99 or something like that, $7.99 for the year. And then if you sign up today using this QR code, then maybe drop off some money. But I think you can get more. I mean, $1.99 for what you've provided seems cheap. If it was just a picture and just just the basic information, okay, yeah, $1.99. But this has grown into something that is, well, I like to refer to it, and I tell my friends, this is a living business card that you can change, control, and anybody that goes to that business card is going to see your latest and greatest, so you never have to print another business card. Okay. Let's see, a couple minutes here in case Claudio would like to. Your second half, the energy came alive. It's almost like you finally shed the issues that you had before you started, and you said, screw it, I'm just going to be myself, which is what we all got a chance to see here today. So just remember that. That was a real good comeback for a big, challenging time this evening, especially when probably 2 hours ago, everything was working just fine. And you're relaxed, you can't wait. Look at his smile now. I can't wait to get it. And then everything gets screwed up like 5 minutes, 10 minutes before. So, well done. Well done. I'm glad it happened with us and not with investors.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Great feedback as well. And yeah, we still have a minute or 2 on the clock here. There's only one thing that I want to mention, and maybe I'm a little bit too touchy about it, but in your ask, you asked for $10,000, and then you followed up with, and we will spend it all on blah, 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 blah. To me, the word spend is kind of like it's gone. The money is gone. So I would try to find another word. Either we will invest it or we will use it for. But to me, the word spend is probably not the best, especially the way that I heard it, because it was almost like elevated out of the sentence. We'll spend it all on blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? And then it's all gone. So, but other than that, I think, all the other coaches have covered most of the issues here. Again, I think that I would like to see a next version of this, and I think it will be a smashing pitch. Now, we still have 1 minute left. Massimo, let me ask you, of course, you had a little bit technical problems in the very beginning. I cut them out of the recording, but that was certainly nerve-wracking. Putting that aside, how did you feel about the pitch?
Yeah, I liked it. As I told you before, it was probably a little bit longer than 3 minutes, but that gave me the time and confidence not to rush it too much. And so that helped a lot because as I was saying before, I guess, like last time, to me, one of the more stressing things is that, yeah, 3 minutes sounds a lot, but it is not. And so you're always afraid of missing something. And so when you start to panic, then you stop thinking and then you stop being yourself and then blah, 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 right? So this time I said, whatever, I'm going to take 30 seconds more, 1 minute more. I don't really care because you will be the one telling me what to cut. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and those 3 minutes, they are such an arbitrary value anyways, right? I mean, how often are we in a world where we are really, really limited in time? Those kind of pitches and presentations do happen, a pitch contest, an investor conference, but those are more or less the exceptions. So I think, whether it's 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, it's all good. It's all good. I think you made very, very good use of the time. There are certainly ways that if you ever had to bring it down to less than 3 minutes, you could. But I think you had it all covered today. So again, congratulations. And I look forward to see you coming back, of course, next week as a coach again. And then later on as a person in the hot seat pitching GoScanThis for the 3rd time. And with that, we have reached the end of our session today. Thank you everybody for participating so actively, providing tremendously valuable feedback to Massimo. And I look forward to seeing all of you again next week. Have a good one. Bye.